What's up YouTube, and welcome to my latest video. Today we are going to discuss the basics of competitive Overwatch as well as tips and tricks in order to succeed in the game. Let's get started. Okay, so first things first. Before you play competitive, you should know what you're getting into. In order to play comp, you need to be at least level 25. This is the only technical requirement from Blizzard to play competitive. However, if you are new to the game, I recommend learning at least one hero for each role, because you will not always get the role or hero you want. After you hit level 25 and become a beast with your heroes of choice, it's time to jump in. In Season 4, you will play 10 competitive games before being placed between bronze and gold. After that, the climb begins. Your rank is based on a point system in which you lose points for losses and gain points for wins. On top of your regular elo points, which determine your rank, you gain 10 competitive points per win and 3 per draw. At the end of the season, you will get a certain amount of competitive points depending on what rank you achieved. Competitive points are currently only used in order to buy gold weapon skins. Next I want to talk about team compositions. Team compositions are very important in Overwatch, and in order to win you want to have the best team composition possible right from the gate. And you want to fix any holes your composition has or account for any counters you need against the enemy team's heroes as fast as possible. This is also due to the fact that you don't want to waste your ultimate charge on another character if you're just going to switch to another character anyway, so you just want to switch right off the bat so you can have your ultimate as fast as possible. Currently the team composition model that works best is the 2-2-2 model, which means 2 tanks, 1 main tank and 1 off tank, 2 supports, either 2 healers or 1 healer and a Symmetra for the first point on defense, and 2 DPS, such as Soldier 76 and McCree. The main tank slot is almost always filled by Reinhardt due to his ability to hold down an area by soaking damage with his shield. The off tank slot is filled by any other hero in the tank category. Sometimes the off tank slot is filled by a flanker, such as Tracer or Genji, in order to disrupt the enemy team and allowing the main group to push through choke points. Before playing competitive, you should know most people want to play DPS. If you also main DPS, be ready to have to fill for the other roles sometimes. If you main the tank role or the support role, you will be able to get your preferred role a lot more. Yay! Alright, now that we know more about team compositions, let's talk about hero counters. This is something you should know in case your team is struggling against a particular hero on the enemy team. Every hero in Overwatch has at least one counter, and at least one hero who they counter. If you are playing DPS and you hear your team yell that you guys need a hit scan to deal with the enemy Mercy Pharaoh combo, then it would be wise to switch to something like Soldier 76 so that your supports don't get poopied on. Wait, but Savage, what is a hit scan hero? Great question, people. A hit scan hero is any hero whose bullets have no travel time and will hit where the crosshair is as soon as the weapon is fired, such as McCree or Soldier 76. The opposite of this is a projectile, which has a travel time and will only do damage if it collides with an enemy. An example of this would be Lucio or Hanzo's weapon. Fun fact! Ana Sniper is unique because it functions as a projectile unscoped, but it is a hit scan weapon while scoped. Wow! Now, guys, I highly recommend taking advantage of the game's voice chat in order to communicate with your teammates. After all, for the most part, all of you are there in order to try to win. Even just a simple "what's up everyone" at the beginning of the game has led me to have much better experiences playing competitive than just playing quietly. Every single call out helps. Even if you find yourself stuck as the only person with a mic, I would still make call outs. You will help your team a lot more than you think. Try to remain positive over the voice comms though. As with any competition, tilt is a very real thing. And despite what you may think, it hinders your performance greatly. Keep calm and don't add to your teammates' tilt. If you don't have a mic, try to get accustomed to the game's pings in order to tell your team what you intend to do, or simply let them know you heard them. In my own experience, I have seen the Overwatch community to be quite friendly, aside from a few bad apples or people having a bad day. Rock on, guys. Keep it cool. That does it for the basics of Overwatch competitive. In this section of the video, we will discuss 14 actual quick tips that will help you win more games in Overwatch. Quick tip number 1. Keep track of where your team is. If your team dies, regroup with them and push as a team. Do not go in alone. Tip number 2. It's almost never worth it to solo ultimate. Try to combo with at least one other person. Tip number 3. Get your ultimate as fast as possible. It can really come in clutch. You do this by healing damage your team takes and by dealing damage to enemies. Headshots will give you ultimate charge faster than body shots. Fun fact! When Bastion is in turret form, his head is a blue box on his back. Shoot it to do tons of damage. Tip number 4. Help your team get their ultimates faster if possible. If you are tanking, soak some damage so that your Mercy can get that resurrect faster. And by that I mean intentionally take a little bit of damage here and there so that your healer can get their ultimate faster by healing you. Tip number 5. Always be shooting something, or healing something, or absorbing something. Always be doing something. Tip number 6. Take down that Reinhardt shield. Doing damage and destroying his shield leads to opportunities for your team to be able to take ground. Tip number 7. Do your job. If you are playing Soldier 786, make sure you're shooting at that Pharah who's shooting at your supports, otherwise your supports are going to be quite mad at you. If you're playing Tracer, go be a pain in the enemy team's ass. Focus on the things your character excels at in order to best help your team. Tip number 8. Prioritize targets in fights. If that Mercy is trying to fly in to find that Resurrect, that legendary 6'5" man Resurrect, then try your best to burst her down before she can res her team. Tip number 9. Counter the enemy team's ultimates with your own. A lot of the supports especially have ultimates that can counter DPS characters. For example, Zenyatta's ultimate can make Genji's ultimate completely useless with just one button. And then tip number 10. Coordinate your team's ultimates. Tip number 11. Pick heroes that work well with your team's heroes. Tip number 12. Don't trickle. Trickling is when a team goes in one by one. Nothing will be accomplished by doing this. Wait for your team. Tip number 13. Pay attention to sound cues such as enemy ultimates and footsteps. Fun fact! Enemy footsteps are automatically louder than your teammates, which is very, very helpful. Tip number 14. Be kind to your fellow Overwatch community. I mean, sometimes shit happens, but we can... Alright guys, hopefully those 14 tips help you to get that juicy elo in competitive. If you made it this far into the video, I want to take the time to thank you very, very much for watching. I hope you learned something new from this video or found use for it in some way. If you did, please drop a thumbs up below and subscribe for more. I want to make all kinds of gaming content on my channel, including more tutorials, let's plays, tips and tricks, as well as anything else you guys want from me. Ask and ye shall receive. You can also catch me live at twitch.tv/thesavagepath. I look forward to talking to you, and I will see you in the next video. Stay savage.